Hey ladies, it's your girl Truly Inspired Martin, and you're not here by chance. Nah, baby, this is on purpose because what we do here is equip and empower you to become the woman that you desire and deserve. You are here because you are ready to restore, reset, and reclaim your life and increase your emotional intelligence. That won't happen everywhere, but here we make shit happen. So let's get it. Hey ladies, it's your girl Truly Inspired Martin, and baby, we are back and better than ever every Thursday, 7 a.m. Catch us on every podcast platform. And I know you've been out here working on you. I see you, girl, doing what you do. But guess what? The journey continues. So if you are truly ready to go from BS to success, welcome back to the Recrown You podcast. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. Girl, it's time to be real, raw, and relentless. Everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do. You know it's time. Recrown you. What's up, ladies? It's your girl, Truly Inspired Martin, and welcome back to the Recrown You podcast. Welcome back to my loyalists, to my baddies. Shout out to y'all. Welcome back to another week. And to my newbies, thank you for stepping in the building and entrusting me with your ears, your heart, your mind. It's heavy, man. It's heavy. And this is a real-time episode, right? Real-time episode, real things happened this week. And you hear things about people that were once here that are now not, right? And you feel like you're processing one thing and then now you have to process another. And it's hard when you encounter people throughout your life. It's hard when you have friends and loved ones that are dealing with so much, and it's not always easy to see or acknowledge. I had to take a sip of water because I'm dried out, y'all. I'm dried out. Because this is a heavy topic for many reasons. We all just lost a friend. We all just lost someone we loved, we knew was a bright light, and they're no longer here. And the means by which they're no longer here is a heavy topic. And I'm going to avoid saying any names or anything, just out of respect, but those that know, you know, and we stand with the family. We stand in a state of shock, though. There's this heaviness, there's this shock that comes over you when you lose someone in such a fashion, right? And we're kind of just diving straight into the episode today because there's a lot to unpack, and I want to make sure that I leave you with things, right? So here at the Recrown You podcast, we are real, we are raw, we are relentless, we are resilient, and we are resourceful. And being resourceful means getting the facts, getting the stats, and being able to leave you with some tangible takeaways, some things for you to ponder upon, and some things to prepare you for if this was to happen in the future. And some of this sits really hard with me because for those that, have read my book or followed my story in any capacity, I always speak to this. I'm a 2-time domestic violence and suicide survivor, right? So there have been 2 separate occasions where I have tried to. It started with suicide ideations, the thoughts of doing, and then it went to the act of trying and failing, right? So I already know what it feels like to be in that mental space. Um, and it's tough, right? It's tough to see it happen in real time. I've lost a lot of people to a lot of different things. Um, I've only known one other person to pass from suicide. So this is heavy. This is weighing heavy on my heart, and I'm doing my best not to. I know what the last two back to back deaths of friends did to me. And it's hard, especially when you're an empath, and I feel everything, and I'm feeling it for my friends, and I'm feeling it for myself and my heart. There's so much heaviness, right? Um, but being aware of self knows that I have to try not to go too deep, try not to cry too much, try not to internalize so much of this, because it will stick to me like glue, right? I'll feel every sense of it, and it hurts, and it's painful. And there's the other side of that, right? Where you can't keep it all in. Like, crying is not weakness, right? Crying is a way of release. It's a way of dealing with your emotions and dealing with those things. So I will not negate the fact that that is a part of my process, but boy, your girl did and still has her moments where she's still trying to cope with the last two over the last few months. And now to be hit again and to feel it even more for another close friend of mine that I know is feeling it three times what I'm feeling, you know? So it's really trying to like push God to just give us peace and understanding, and praying that our friend that's no longer here is also at peace. And that's tough because there was no peace, obviously, right? Um, and it's wearing on me hard because I'm like, damn, I know that feeling. I know that feeling of hopelessness. I know that feeling of loneliness. I know that feeling of feeling like this is it, this is my way out. I don't want to try no other ways. And it hurts in real time what it's doing to our hearts. Like, oh Jesus, this is a lot, right? This is a lot. Um, but we have to open a dialogue around suicide, suicidal ideations, mental health. Like, we have to open the doors around that. And interestingly enough, today, as I'm sitting here, I'm wearing my best friend. She has a clothing brand that she had started a while back, and she deals in the mental health space. And I have on her hoodie from her brand that literally says "Not Yet." Her name's Bianca Guidry. B. Danielle speaks on Instagram. I don't think she has any product up right now, but I'm sure she's gonna roll some more stuff back out. But the hoodie I have on right now says "Not Yet" with a semicolon, and that is literally, the semicolon is literally the the mark for suicide, right? It's the not yet, right? It's the not right now. It's the you are worth so much more, right? Um, it's a simple concept, right? And it's supposed to like represent or share your personal strength to overcome a struggle, right? Like, it's the pause. It's the pause. So it's hard, right? It's hard that I have this on today, and then this news comes to me, and it's like, oh my God, how do we miss these signs, right? Like, how do people feel like they don't, like this was your last option, like you had no one, there was nowhere to turn. Like, as the people that are left behind, I'm sure there's a lot of guilt, for many. People are feeling like, why did you feel like you couldn't come to me, right? People are feeling the heaviness of, what did I miss? What did I not know? What did they feel like they couldn't tell me? What were they facing? What demons? How were they feeling in that moment? There's so much emotions. So much heaviness, so much pain that's attached to these moments. And it freaking sucks, bro. It sucks. So I want to be able to leave you with some tangible takeaways today, right? Like, let's get into the information, right? Let's talk through some of this. So as of December 31st, 2023, NBC reported that more than 50,000 Americans died by suicide in 2023. Today is January 18th, 2024, by the time you listen to this. So less than 30 days ago, the statistic, and that was, imagine, that was, since then, the number's higher, right? But more than, we don't even have the exact, more than 50,000 is already alarming. More than 50,000 Americans, more than 50,000 Americans, that's just Americans, died by suicide in 2023. More than any year on record. Do you hear me? People are dealing with some stuff more than any year on record. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? More than any year on record, we had the most suicides in 2023. And that makes me wonder why. It makes me wonder what. It makes me think through all the different things that we're dealing with, not only as Americans, as humans. People are dealing with so many different things. And it's hard to have these conversations when you're in the middle of it, when you're dealing with it, when it hurts so much, right? But I want to kind of help us navigate through this, because this is stuff that I do for my own thoughts, my own process, and to be better educated, right? Even as someone that was on the other side of that, it's still very important to be educated on this side. Okay? So let's kind of talk through this, right? So if someone's talking to you about suicide, it's not a call for attention, right? Rather a cry for help. So let's reframe that, right? They're not looking for attention. They're asking for help. It's a cry for help, right? And there are two different types of situations that you may experience with people who are having suicidal thoughts. It could be passive or imminent, right? So both should be taken very seriously, though likely handled a bit differently. So either way, let's look at it for what it is, right? So asking someone about suicide does not increase their risk of an attempt. Instead, it decreases the stigma, alleviates feelings of isolation, and increases support, decreasing the likelihood. If people were just more open to talk about these things, oh, how things could change, right? So when we go on the passive side, so passive, this situation occurs when someone is speaking more vaguely of wanting to die. Maybe they have considered suicide or state that they feel they simply cannot go on like this. All right. So here's a plan. This is from Vanderbilt University Medical Center. So I'm taking this straight from the professionals. All right. So let's get through this. Start with validating that person's emotions and expressing your own genuine concern. Showing empathy and emphasizing that the person's feelings matter can go a long way. It sounds like you are really struggling. Can you tell me more about it? I'd like to listen and help where I can. So that's some dialogue for you, right? It sounds like you're really struggling. Can you tell me more about it? I'd like to listen and help where I can. Next point. Try your best not to argue with the person's negative statements, no matter how dire they may sound. You can use positive reinforcement while still acknowledging that their current emotions are real and fair. You feel hopeless right now. We will get you the help you need together. You are not alone. That's some dialogue for you. You feel hopeless right now. We will get you the help you need together. You are not alone. Next point. Encourage the person to seek professional help and offer to help them identify and contact resources. See resource list below. I will tag this website in the show notes so you can go see the resources below as well. Okay? Safety plan. Speak with the person about who they will contact if their suicidal thoughts and depressive symptoms begin to escalate. This list will likely include close friends or relatives, a professional, and a 24-hour suicide hotline, which I will also share with you all here for you to have access to or to give to anyone. And that is, you can text 988 or call 988 from your cell phone. And that will connect you directly to the suicide prevention hotline. And they will be able to assist you with any crisis you are currently dealing with. Okay? So that's 988. 988. Dial that from your phone. You can chat, you can call, you can text, you can visit the website. Either way, the help is there. Okay? So let's move on. Ask the tough and detailed questions, right? Here are some questions. Do you have a plan? Right? You have to ask those tough questions, because if a person is able to verbalize a plan that they have, it might be more imminent than passive. Okay? Have you ever attempted before? We're gauging where you are on the scale, 1 to 10, right? Do you feel as if you could do something to hurt yourself today? Are you scared to be alone right now? These are really good questions, and these are the same questions that I actually went to did a certification class for mental health training. And these are some of the very things that they spoke on as well. So let's move on to imminent. All right. Imminent. Someone who is expressing a desire to die in the near future is in imminent danger, particularly if they have established a plan, means, or timeline. Remember earlier I talked about, do you have a plan? If someone has a plan already in place, if they've already kind of premeditated it, attempted before, they are more on the lines of being imminent. They are a danger to themselves in this time, right? So they have a plan, a means, or a timeline. In cases like this, you need to call 911 or the nearest emergency services unit. Do not leave the person alone. Make sure they are escorted by a trusted person to the nearest emergency department or mental health crisis center. All right? Ensure that all means are removed from the person's access. This means guns, knives, medications, alcohol, poisons. If this person is not a close friend, be sure to alert someone who will have the ability to remove those means. Now, I know this conversation is heavy, y'all, but it is so freaking necessary. All right? I hope that you're able to take notes from this so that we can be proactive in our approaches to helping others as well as being aware for self, right? So, let's talk about this acronym that psychologist Chad Buck created for keeping some of the tips mentioned above in mind. He used the acronym BELIEVE, like believing in yourself. Believe, right? The B stands for believe that suicidal comments or gestures are serious. That's the B. E is for engage in conversation about thoughts and feelings. L is for listen, without judgment or arguing. I is for investigate, intent, and access to lethal means. E is for express empathy for the person and situation. V is for validate how difficult and painful this is for them. And E is for encourage them to seek support and escort the person to access help. Okay? So I want to just leave some numbers with you as well. Crisis hotline 988, right? You can chat, text, call 988 from your phone, or you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. Okay? So I want to make sure that you have resources, right? You have access to the things that you need. Now that you kind of got an idea of how to engage or how to be aware of what someone might be dealing with, I want to also talk to you. You, the other person that's listening right now, and you're dealing with these issues. You've dealt with suicidal ideations. You've dealt with feeling of not enough. You felt lonely. You felt like there's no other way out. You've started to kind of deal with things and you don't really know how to talk them through or how to talk to someone. So I want to also leave you with some tips on how to tell someone you're thinking about suicide. All right? Because I know telling someone that you're having these thoughts, I want to let you know that is brave AF. It takes a lot of courage and it can be very difficult to do. But sharing your feelings, being self-aware is so important to not only your growth and not only you, the person, but the people around you so that they can better serve you and show up for you the way you need them to. Because it's the first step to finding help is being aware of self. So if you're feeling suicidal, you're likely feeling hopeless or helpless. So connecting with other people so you can feel supported might just give you hope, right? So let's kind of talk through this. So another resource that I see for a free confidential conversation with a trained counselor any time of day, you can text HOM as in Mary E home to 741-741. Okay? So you're texting home to 741-741 for a free confidential conversation with a trained counselor at any time. Okay? Also, 988lifeline.org. That's the same one I was speaking to you about earlier. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis, text or call 988 or use the chat function at 988lifeline.org. If you feel this is a medical emergency and you are in immediate danger or harm, call 911, okay, and explain that you are having a mental health crisis. Make sure when you call 911, let them know you are having a mental health crisis. Utilizing the correct verbiage is very important in this equation, okay? So we want to make sure that you are safe and you are protected. But let's go ahead and get you the information you need. So how do you tell someone that you're thinking about suicide, right? So one, you got to decide who in your life you want to tell. So you may choose a close friend or a parent or an adult in your life that you trust, but think about a person in your life who is a good listener, always seems to show empathy and compassion, and thinks before they react. You don't need the one that go off the rails. You need somebody that's really going to truly hear you, okay? Number two, reach out in a way that feels comfortable. So it may be easier to send a text first to tell your trusted person you need to talk about something important. Try this. Look, they even gave us a template, right? So try this if you have to text it to someone or send an email or what have you. I have something important to tell you. I'm hoping we can talk alone soon. A simple text like this communicates the importance of the conversation. So whomever is on the other end knows to set aside distraction-free time to focus on you. Okay? So people who support you are best able to help if you can use words rather than actions to tell them how you feel. It also helps to meet in a private space where they can focus without distraction. Okay? All right, let's take another sip because this is heavy, y'all. All right. Number 3, be prepared for a few different responses. All right? When you tell someone how you're feeling, they may not know exactly how to respond and may have follow-up questions. This is normal, y'all. This is normal. So think about how you'll answer questions like these, okay? Here are a few questions. How long have you felt this way? How often do you have these thoughts? Are you worried you may do something soon to harm yourself? Do you have a plan for how you would do it? What do you need to do to feel safe? So these questions might sound scary or overwhelming, but honest answers will help the person who is trying to help you know what to do. So hopefully your person will take you seriously right away. But if you're not feeling heard, you could say something like this. I really need you to hear me and help me. I'm scared and I need you. That's more direct, right? If you're not feeling heard, that's more of the verbiage you can use. If your chosen person does not help you, keep reaching out until somebody does. Never give up. Never give up. All right? You will be heard. So if you're having suicidal thoughts, but you're not worried about harming yourself right away, be clear about that. The person who is helping you may not be sure if they need to reach out for more help or bring you to an emergency room, and letting them know that you're safe for the moment, if you are, is important. Number 4, be clear about what you are feeling. You don't need to soften it for your support person. You chose them because you trust them. Listen and help, okay? It is okay, however, to start by sharing how you're feeling about having this conversation. You could start with something like this, right? I'm feeling anxious to tell you this, but I really need to get it out. It might take me a minute to find the right words. Pausing here actually gives you a chance to process and think what you want to say next. All right? Focus on your feelings and thoughts. Here are some phrases you could try. For the past blank amount of time, I've been feeling really overwhelmed, depressed, hopeless, and having thoughts of suicide. Or you can try this. I think about dying blank, and I've been experiencing other changes in my moods like blank. Or I've been feeling blank emotions, and blank triggers these feelings, seems to make it worse. Or I want to talk to a therapist or a doctor to help me through this. Will you help me find one? Right? And I'll also link this page as well in the show notes. This came directly from the JED, J-E-D Foundation, and they have really good resources, okay? Number 5, ask them to help you call one of the resources above. You can also ask them to take you to the nearest emergency room if you feel you're in immediate harm. Number 6, create a safety plan together if you currently feel safe. Now that you have someone to support you, you can create a safety plan together. A safety plan includes a list of resources you can access when you have suicidal thoughts, but it can also include affirmations, instructions for how to reframe your thinking, and a short list of things that give you hope on good days. A safety plan can be stored in your phone to share with someone you trust when you have suicidal feelings. It can feel overwhelming to share these feelings as they are happening, but showing your safety plan to someone who can help is a good way to get immediate support and help. The most important thing to know is that there is help and hope available. It may feel scary to say suicide out loud, but when you do, you will discover you are no longer alone and you can find your way forward to feeling better, okay? So I'm going to make sure that I link this in the show notes so that you have all the resources that I spoke on today. I'm taking a moment to breathe right now because this was heavy. This was a lot. And I know it was for many others. But we are breaking open the doors of dialogue on this. We have to talk about it. And as me being me, as someone that has been on this side of the fence, it's hard, but it's necessary. It's necessary. So if you or someone you know is struggling, please have them call 988. Let them text, let them call, let them find help. Give them a sense of hope. And if you are someone that is currently dealing with this, there is help. And just know, I stand with you because I've been there and I get it. But I want to take a moment of silence before we end this episode. I want to have a moment of silence for everyone that we've lost to suicide. Breathe. Breathe. This was a tough one. This was a heavy one. But I hope that you got some resources from this. I hope you got some information from this. I had to go to some resources to get us some real on this heavy topic. But it's happening. We can't avoid it. We can't jump over it. We can't jump through it. We got to talk through it. We can't face something that we act like is not there, that it's not a problem, that it's not happening. It's absolutely happening, and it's happening in our faces. I saw a quote that said a U.S. Surgeon General calls mental health the defining health crisis of our time. But for some reason, it's not getting the attention it needs. So let's break the stigma together. Just know, I stand with you. You are worthy. You have people that you don't even know that are willing to fight for you. I need you to just fight a little bit harder. I need you to take the steps. I need you to look to your left or your right and find someone to talk to. Take advantage of the resources that was provided in this episode. Rest in peace. I love you.
You know it's time.